Yeah, good morning. And lastly, we are working with the SQL statements, the most important statements of your profession, that is IT profession. Of course, there are a hell of programming languages. Apart from the front-end softwares, you require back-end softwares, and the king of back-end softwares is SQL, that is Structured Query Language Oracle Database. This Oracle database was developed in between 1974 to 1978 by W. W. Chamberlain at St. John's Research Laboratories, United States of America. Of course, in DBMS, I'll be teaching you a hell of topics. Out of all the topics, the most important topic is SQL, Structured Query Language, and the next is the normalizations. That I'll be dealing in some fourth unit or so. I'll be dealing the normalization concepts. So these two are the most important topics, and pay attention. My sincere request is you please pay attention towards these topics. And out of all subjects what you are learning in the second year, I honestly say that Java is the most important. Please pay attention because that comes to front end, and DBMS, that is SQL, comes to back end. You need to pay much attention. Additional attention is required towards the front end Java and back end SQL, that is structured query language. In our last class, we discussed about some SQL statements. Selecting required rows, selecting required columns, of course using join operations, expressions with select statement and string formats. This is what we discussed in our last class. A single character is represented by underscore and group of characters is represented by percentage symbol. Joins is used to get the data from multiple relations. Joins is used to get the data from multiple relations, not one to get the data from multiple relations. Under joins, you experienced, that is conditional join, equi-join, and equi-join. And of course, you discussed about natural joins in relational algebra. Of course, the same concept is being applied in SQL, structured query language. And we are performing selection operation and projection operation. Selection operation is used to filter the rows, and projection operation is used to filter the columns. Selection to filter the rows and projection to filter the columns. The topics what we discussed in the relational algebra are being applied in SQL almost all as it is being applied in SQL, that is structured query language. Now, in today's class, let us have a discussion on union, intersection, except, join with logical operators, nested queries, correlated queries, set comparison operation in any all, set comparison operation in any all. All these topics, we need to have a discussion on all these topics, and we'll have the discussion of these topics, and today's outcome of today's class should be union, intersect, except, join with logical operators, nested queries, correlated queries, set comparison in any all operators. This should be the outcome. Set operations in your 10th class mathematics or in discrete mathematics, you might have studied about the set operations. Union is nothing but the combination of first set plus second set and eliminating the duplicates. Union operation is nothing but the combination of first set and second set, eliminating the duplicates is nothing but a union operation. If at all you want to combine these sets, set of values, first set, second set, third set, fourth set, set 1 union set 2 union set 3, then all the sets will be clubbed into a single set, that is a union operation. Intersection is nothing but extracting the common values among the sets is nothing but intersection. The first set and second set, if they possess the common values are being extracted, that is nothing but intersection. And of course, you are having set difference, that is nothing but except. Set difference, it is nothing but except. First set except second set, that is first set minus second set. First set minus second set means all the elements which are available in the first set but not in second set will be resulted. That is nothing but except. I just repeat, except. All the elements which are available in the first set but not in second set. but not in second set are resulted. That is called except. SQL also provides other set operations like in, not in, exists, any, and all. There are also for set comparisons. We use this for set comparisons. For sake of set comparisons, we use some other operators like any, all, exists, not any. You can add not any, not all, not in, not exists. You can add not before this and you can negate it. So for set operations, we use union concept, intersection concept, and except concept. That's the first point. And while comparing, that is a set comparisons, you use in operator, any operator, all operator. Similarly, exists operator. Similarly, you can add not before that. It becomes a not in, not any, not all, not exists. So these are all the set comparing operators. In, any, all exists. Not in, not any, not all, not exists. And these are the set comparison operators. Now we'll work out with some example queries. Let us work out with some example queries of these set operations. Before going to set comparison operators, just you try to memorize union, intersect, except. Union, intersect, except. And set comparison in, any, all, exists, not in, not any, not exists. And these are set comparison operators. You need to memorize. Just a minute. You go through these operators. Just a minute. You should memorize the concepts. Right? Now we see the usage of those set operators and set comparison operators. Join with the logical operators. I'm joining two relations with logical operators. In this particular example, I'm not showing you set operations. I'm using join operations with the logical operators. Join with the logical operators. That's what I'm showing. Join with the logical operators. Observe carefully. Find names of sailors who have reserved red or green boats. The question is find the names of sailors. I want only names of sailors who reserved names of sailors who have reserved red or green boats. Who reserved either red boat or green boat? This is the question. Select S name. I want name. I want to project. That is a projection operation. Select S name from sailors S. Reserves are boat B. Where S dot SID equals to R dot SID and R dot boat ID equals to B dot boat ID. And B dot color should be red and B dot color equals to green. What is taking this is called as yes. This sailor's table is called as yes. The reserves table is called as an R. He is calling this table as R. R is a reserves table. He is calling this table as R. R for reserve. He is calling it as an R. And this table he is calling it as a B. B is a boat table. Boat color should be red or boat color should be green. So rest of the tuples you just ignore. The boat color should be red or green. So these tuples are to be selected. And this boat ID should be equals to B dot boat ID should be equals to R dot boat ID. For these three, these boat IDs should be R dot boat ID. R dot boat ID. 102, 102 matched. 103, 103 matched. 104, 104 matched. 102, 102 matched. You can observe here 102, 102 matched. And 102, 102 matched. 102, 102 matched. Right, 103 and 103 matched. 103 and 103 matched. 103 and 103 matched. 103 and 103 matched. 104 and 104 matched. 104 and 104 matched. So only these tuples are considered. Only these tuples are considered. Where the red green boats are matching. Those both IDs are matched here. 102, 103, 104. 102, 103, 104. 102, 103, and 104. 102, this is not the case. 104, we want 104. This is 104. This is 104. Okay. 104, 102, and 103. These are considered. And what I am using, r dot SID should be equals to s dot id. R dot SID for these rows, r dot SID should be equals to s dot SID. This 22 got matched with this 22. This 22 and this 22 got matched. Equijoin. This 22 is matched with this 22. This 22 got matched with this 22. And here there is 22 got matched with this 22. Matched with 22. This 102, 31 got matched with 31. And this 31 got matched with 31. This 31, 104 got matched with 31. This 64 got matched with 64 Horatio. 74 got matched with 74 Horatio. Now these names are picked up. S dot name, S dot name, S dot names are picked up only for these matching rows. Only for these matching rows, the rows are being picked up. That is, names are picked up. That is Dustin. You get output Dustin. And here you get Lubber. And you get Horatio. You get Horatio. Of course, this Horatio also. Horatio twice. And here you got Dustin, Lubber, and Horatio. Of course, there is one more Horatio. There is one more Horatio. Even this Horatio, you will get it. This is Horatio. You get output as a Horatio. This is the output. So here I am not using set operations. We will do the same program using set operations. Presently this program is demonstrated without set operations. Now I will show you the same query with set operations. You can do the same query in different styles with set, without set.
Sir, does Dustin appear only once, sir?
Dustin?
Will name Dustin will be only once, sir, in the list?
Three times. Dustin 3 times, Lubber 3 times, Lubber comes in 3 times, and Horatio comes 2 times. Dustin 3 times, Lubber 3 times, and Horatio 2 times. Horatio is 2 times.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Ask me doubts.
Sir, if we use distinct, will we
no
got
duplicates.
2 ratios or only one?
Only one Horatio. Only one Horatio you'll get if you use distinct.
We have distinct.
Yeah,
yes,
I got it. Even then you will get only one.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, though they are 2 different persons, but you will get only one. Because I'm using distinct. Both names are same, but they are different persons. Even then you will get only one.
Okay, sir.
Dear students, I'm proceeding to the next query. The same query, find names of sailors who have reserved boats red and green, both red and green boats. Red and green boats. What I'm doing is, here you observe here, I'm taking the sailors who booked red boats. You observe this carefully. I'm finding out the sailors who booked red boats. Union, I'm clubbing that. Here I am finding the sailors who reserved green boats. The sailors who reserved green boats. So here I am getting the names of sailors who reserved green boats. Here I am getting the names of sailors who reserved red boats. And I am performing union operation. You should observe this point. This is important point. I am unioning that. I am clubbing. When I clubbed, you will get the names of the sailors who reserved both red and green boats. In your output, you will get Dustin and you will get Lubber. These are that sailors who reserved both boats, that is red and green boats, red and green boats. You can just go through this query. You please go through this query. I am performing union operation. This is red or green boats. There is a concept called except. Except is nothing but minus operator. Except is nothing but minus operator. Find sailor IDs. I want only sailor IDs from all sailors who have reserved red boats but not green boats. They should book only red boats but not green boats. They should not book green boats. Hope the question is clear. I want only sailors who booked red boats but they should not book green boats. Suppose if there is a person, Dustin, he booked red and green. I don't want his name. They should book only red boats but they should not book green boats. I want their names. I hope the question is clear. I want the names of sailors who booked only red boats but not green boats. But not green boats. Now, in the first select statement, this is the first select statement. I am selecting the names of sailors who booked red boats. Names of sailors who booked red boats. From that, I am subtracting the names of sailors who booked green boats. Who booked green boats? I am subtracting. So if there is any sailor who booked green boat also, their names will be removed. Except is nothing but it is a minus operator. Except is nothing but it is a minus set difference. Except is a set difference operator. That is a minus operator. So the elements which are available in first set but not in second set only will be resulted. The elements which are in first set but not in second set only will be resulted. And hence here in this case you will get only Horatio. You will not get Dustin, Lubber, because Dustin and Lubber they booked both red and green boats. Red and green boats. I don't want. I want the person who booked only red boats but not green boats. Then if you see the status of this Horatio, Horatio, he booked, coming to this Horatio, he booked only green boat, 74 you see, 74 Horatio, 103, he booked green boat. 74 is nothing but Horatio, 74 is nothing but Horatio. He is a person, 74 Horatio, he booked 103 boat, 103 is nothing but it is a green color. And you can't find that Horatio booked the other boat. And coming to the Dustin, why Dustin is eliminated? Dustin he booked 101, 101 is blue, but Dustin he booked 102, that is a red boat. Dustin he also booked 103, that is a green boat. So Dustin booked red and green boats. I don't want those persons. I want the person who booked only red boat but not green boat. That is except. I am performing except operation. You can just go through this, please. Go through. That is except. The output is
60.
SID of 64. 64 booked. 64 booked 102.
74.
Yeah, 64 booked. 64 he booked 102. That is a red boat. And hence it should be 64. It should be 64. Your output should be 64. Perfect. Your output is 64. Right, I am proceeding to the next concept. Okay, we are performing union operation, set operations, union, intersection and difference. Your question is all sailor IDs, I want sailor IDs who have rating 10 or reserved 104 boat. They should have the rating 10 or they should have boat ID 104, who reserved boat ID 104. I want the sailor IDs of sailors who have rating 10. So in the first select statement, what I am doing is, in the first select statement, select S.SID from sailors whose sailor rating is 10. So the sailor rating 10, their sailor IDs will be listed out. That is Rustin, sailor ID, Rusty and Jobra. Rusty and Jobra, their rating is 10. And in the second, I am selecting the sailor ID who reserved the boat 104. Who reserved the boat 104? The reserved boat 104 is 22. 104, boat 104 is 31. 104 is booked by these two. And hence your output is 58, 71, 22, 31. 58, 71, 22, 31. This is the output. Your question, sailors whose rating is 10 or who reserved boat ID 104 or who reserved boat 104. And hence this is the output. Please go through. I'm performing union operation. Please go through the query. Please study this query. Rating equals to 10. I picked up the sailor IDs whose rating equals to 10. I picked up the sailor IDs whose boat ID is 104. And you are asked to union, club. I'm performing union operation and I'm projecting the complete stuff. Please go through this for a minute. Hope that is clear for you. That is a union operation. We are performing union operation in this case. Let us go ahead with the next concept. Nested queries. A query within query is called as a nested query. A query within query. A select statement within another select statement is called as a subquery. It is called as a subquery, or we call it as a nested query. A select statement written within another select statement, a select statement written within another select statement is called as a subquery, or we call it as a embedded query or the subquery or nested query. Generally, this is written after where clause. Generally, this subquery is written after where clause. We study with some examples that will be damn clear for you. Now, the unknown things will be 2. The minimum unknown things will be 2. The subqueries are used when minimum unknown things are 2. Suppose here you observe the question. First, we will study the question. Names are of sailors who have reserved boat 103. Names of sailors who have reserved boat 103. First, 103 sailor IDs, if we know, based on sailor IDs, you can know the names of sailors. Once you listen carefully, names of sailors who have reserved 103. In reservation table, if you see this reservation table R, let me call it as an R. In reservation table, boat number 103, who reserved their sailor IDs are to be picked up. Boat ID 103, who reserved their sailor IDs are to be picked up. Once the sailor IDs are picked up, this is first unknown factor is sailor IDs. Once the sailor IDs are known, based on the sailor IDs, you can pick up the names. Based on the sailor IDs, you can pick up the names. 20 Lubber, Dustin. Based on the sailor IDs, you can pick up the names. Once again, when you are working with the nested subqueries, that is a subquery within another subquery, generally there will be 2 unknown facts. Unless and until we get the first unknown thing, then based on the first unknown thing, we can find out the second unknown thing. In this example, boat number 103, their names he is asking. Who reserved boat number 103? Their names he is asking. In reservation table, first we need to find out their sailor IDs. Boat number 103, their sailor IDs we need to find out. Once the sailor IDs are found, based on the sailor IDs, you can find out the names of the sailors. You can find the names of the sailors. The first sailor IDs are to be extracted based on the sailor IDs 22. The name can be found out. That is Dustin. 31 Lubber. 74 Horatio. Now you observe here, select sailor ID from reserves. Sailor IDs from reserve. Reserves means this is the table. This table is called reserves. This table is called reserves. From this table, you are selecting the sailor IDs where boat ID is 103. Boat ID is 103. So you will get sailor IDs 22, 31 and 74. After getting here, from here you got 22. Here the select statement, from this select statement you got 22, 31, 22, 31 and 74. 22, 31 and 74. So you got from this select statement you got this. And from the outer select statement, select names of sailors where whose sailor ID in this set of values. Sailor IDs are in this. The set of values is 21, 31 and 22, 30, 31 and 74. Whose sailor IDs are in this set of values. Now select names from sailors where sailor ID are in this set of values. Now first 22. 22 is in this set of values, yes, and hence you will get output Dustin. Next sailor ID is 29. 29 is in this set, no. 31. 31 is in this set, yes, and hence you will get Lubber. 32 Andy. 32 is in this set, no. 58 Rusty. 58 no. 64 No. 71 Jorba, no, not in this set. And 74, 71 is not available. 74 is available in this set, yes. And hence you are getting Horatio. And hence you are getting Horatio. 85 is in this set, no. 95 is in this set, no. And hence your output is Dustin, Lubber and Horatio. This is the output. Inner select statement, with the help of inner select statement, you are fetching the sailor IDs. Based on the sailor IDs, you are fetching the names of the sailors. This is what we are doing. Read the question carefully. Find the names of sailors. You want names of sailors who have reserved 103. Who have reserved 103? 103 boat. 103 boat. Right? Then this is the query. A select statement is written within another select statement, which is called as nested query. You please go through this. You please go through this select statement for a minute. Right, I'm proceeding to the next one. Nested queries find names of sailors who have reserved red boats. The question is who reserved red boats. For the previous query, it is an extension. Select boat ID from boats where color equals to red. Here you observe here a select statement, second select statement, third select statement. This is the first select statement. Within this, there is a second select statement. Within this, there is a third select statement. A select statement within a select statement. This is a nested select statement. Your question is simple. You are asked to find the names of sailors who have reserved red boats. So the color of boat is in this. The color of boat is in this table. This is a reserves table or boat table. This is a boat table. This is the reserves table R table. This is the sailors table S table. Select boat ID. You are choosing the boat IDs of those whose boat color is red. Whose boat color is red. And hence you will get 102 and 104. So the result of this third select statement is nothing but 102. This is 102 and 103, 104, 102 and 104. This is 104, 102 and 104. The result of the third select statement is 102 and 104. Now, select sailor ID from reserves. Select sailor ID from reserves where boat ID is in this 102, 104. Select sailor ID. Okay, from reserves where boat ID, their boat ID should be either 102 or 104. This is 102 or 104, 102 or 104, 102 or 104, 102 or 104, 102 or 104. Now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is your output. Here, the second select statement, you got 22, again 22, you got 22, again 22, 31, 31, this is 31, and of course again 31. In set operations, duplicates are eliminated. So we can write only once, 31, 31 and 64 and 64. This is the outcome of second select statement. Now you go to the first select statement. Select names from sailors where sailor ID is in this set. This is a set of values. Where sailor ID is in this set of values. Select name. I want names from sailors where sailor ID. Their sailor ID should be in this set of values. That is 22. Is 22 available in this set? Yes. And hence you get output as Dustin. In output you get Dustin. You take the next one, 29. Is 29 available? No. Is 31 available? Yes, 31 is available in this set. And hence you will get Lubber. That is the reason in output you got Lubber. You got Lubber in output. And is 32. Is 32 available? No. 58. Is 58 available? No. Is 71 available? No. 74 available? No. 85. Is 85 available? No. Is 95 available? No. Is 64 available? Yes. 64 is available and hence you will get a ratio. This is the thing. So here there are three select statements. First select statement, second select statement and third select statement. A select statement within another select statement. Select names of sailors who have reserved red boats. So I am picking up the boat IDs of red boats. And here I am picking up the sailor IDs who reserved the red boats. From here I am selecting the sailor names who selected the those boat IDs of red boats. You please go through this. Please go through this query. Your question and query. You ask me doubts if any. Let us proceed to the next concept. Nested queries. Again, a nested query. Names of sailors who have not reserved red boat. Negation, not in. Names of sailors who have not reserved red boats. For the previous example, I'm just using with this select statement. Here there are three select statements. This is the first select statement. This is the second select statement. This is the third select statement. Who have not reserved. Names of sailors who had not reserved red boats. Then here I am taking red boats. Select boat ID from boats where color equals to red. You'll get red boats. That is the red boats boat ID. Boat ID is 102. The boat ID is 102 and 104. 102 and 104. I am selecting their sailor IDs. Means these are red boats. Red boat sailor IDs I am picking up. I am picking up the red boats sailor IDs. Red boat sailor ID is 102. That is 22. And 104. 104 is again 22. And 102 here is 31. And 104 is again 31. 102 that is 64. So you got these sailor IDs. These sailor IDs. Who are these sailors? These IDs are nothing but who booked red boats. So here you got 22, you got 31, you got 31. These are the sailors who reserved red boats. But question is who had not reserved red boats. Now I am finding out who reserved red boats. That is 64. These are nothing but the set of sailor IDs who reserved red boats. Now what I am doing, select names from sailors. I want names from sailors where sailor ID is not in this. Where sailor ID is not in this. Where sailor ID is not in this. They should not be the sailors. These should not be the sailors. I don't want these sailors. I just don't want these sailors. I don't want these sailors. So where sailor ID is not in this set of values, means here 22 is in this set. I don't want those sailor IDs. This 22, this is the 22. So I don't want this. When there is a not in this set, I don't want this. 29, yes, 29. 30, I want this 29. Okay, that is a Brutus. That is the reason you got Brutus. That is the reason you got Brutus. Lubber, 31. I don't want this Lubber because he reserved the red boat. I don't want. These are all the sailors who reserved red boats, and hence I am negating not in this set. Those sailor IDs who are not in this set, Other than these numbers, the rest you will get. The names of sailors other than these numbers, the rest you will get. That is the reason you got Brutus, Andy, Rusty, Jobra, Horatio, Art, and Bob. So you got these. Other than these 22, 31, and 64. Who are these 22, 31, and 64? These are those who reserved the red boats. So I'm getting the sailors who are other than this. That's what happening. Yeah, you please go through this for a minute and ask me doubts if any. Please go through the query. I proceed to the next concept with the expectation that you are following. That is the nested queries. And you are having a correlated nested queries. Coming to the correlated nested queries, the outer query is compared with the inner query. The outer query is compared with the inner query. In nested queries, outer query, inner query are different. Here the outer query values are being compared with the inner query values. Then it comes to correlation. You are relating the outer query with the inner query, then it comes to correlation. Find names of sailors who have reserved the boat number 103. The question is simple. Find the names of sailors who have reserved the boat number 103. Boat number 103. I want the names of sailors who have reserved the boat number 103. Select name of sailor S where exists, if such sailor exists, where exists. We'll do a practical examples in a SQL laboratory. I'll explain you in elaborated form the importance of exists, where exists. Select asterisk from reserves are, where boat ID equals to 103. where boat ID equals to 103. Here the question, names of sailors who have reserved. You want names, not sailor ID. You are asking to give the names of sailor who have reserved boat number 103. The reservation details are available in this table. So from reservation table, select asterisk from reservation table where boat ID equals to 103. Boat ID is 103. Boat ID is 103. Where boat ID is 103. The outer sailor ID, S sailor ID equals to R sailor ID. Here this is R sailor ID and this is S sailor ID. This is R, this is S, this is R. R's sailor ID, R's sailor ID should be equals to S sailor ID. R's sailor ID should be equals to S sailor ID. R's sailor ID should be equals to S sailor ID. R's sailor ID should be equals to S sailor ID. S sailor ID. If you observe this, as per this query, you get the first one is Dustin, the second is Lubber, and the third one is Horatio. So output you will get Dustin and Lubber and Horatio. The same question can be done in multiple forms. This is another form of doing. Select S dot name from sailor S where exists. Select asterisk from reserves where R dot boat ID, reservation boat ID should be 103, 103, and R's SID should be equals to SID. So R's sailor IDs and the corresponding sailor IDs, R's sailor ID, R's boat ID should be 103 and R's SID should be equals to SSID. And hence this got compared with this, that is the Dustin. And coming to this got compared with Lubber, and hence you got output Lubber. And this got compared with Horatio, that is Horatio 74, you got Horatio. So this is the output. This is called correlation. The outer select statement is being compared with the inner select statement. The outer select statement we are calling it as an S. SSID should be equals to RSID. Outer is compared with the inner select statement. Just a minute, you please go through. This particular thing can be done in many forms, but this is also one of the style of comparison.
Sir, explain once again, sir.
Yeah, the outer row is called S. The sailor table is being called as S. The sailor table is called as S. Okay, reserve table is called R. Sailor table is called S and reserves table is called R. I want boat number 103. Who reserved? Their names I want. Inner table, I am calling it as a reserves table. Select asterisk from reserves where R dot boat ID equals to 103. The reservation table is called R. And boat ID equals to 103. I am bothered about only 103 boats. Who reserved 103? 103. But that 103 should be compared with the reservation is available in R. Names are available in S. And hence, I want S table also because the names are available in S table. I don't have the sailor names in R table. Somehow or other, I should relate this table to that table. The outer table is nothing but it's a sailor table. The outer table I am calling it as a sailor table. R.SID is S.SID. The outer table is called sailor table. The outer table is called sailor table. Yes. R sailor ID should be S sailor ID. R's sailor ID should be equal to S sailor ID. This 22 got matched with this 22. And hence the name Dustin is resulted. The Dustin. You got name as Dustin. And here 31. Here 31, we are taking this 31. 31, why I am picking up 31? Because the boat ID is 103. Here in question he gave boat ID is 103. And hence I am taking this 31. This 31 should match with S sailor ID. This 31 should match with S sailor ID. Got matched. And hence Lubber is resulted. You got output as Lubber. Here you take the another one 103. 103 is reserved by 74. This 74 should get matched with this here in S. It got matched with 74, that is a Horatio, and hence you got Horatio as output. Here in nested query, the outer I am calling it as an S, the inner I am calling it as an R. The inner is compared with the outer. The inner R's SID is compared with the outer, S is nothing but sailor. Sailor SID is being compared, and hence you got this output. This is called correlation. We will do number of examples. We still do number of examples in your lab. Just you remember, in correlated subqueries, the outer queries are being compared with the inner queries. We relate outer and inner queries, which is called as a correlation. The outer queries are compared with inner queries, which is being called as a correlation. I am proceeding to the next concept. Okay, set comparison operator. You are having in, any, all. Of course, exists. In, any, all. And of course, you are having exists operator. We use with the combination of greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to, and not equal to. The set comparison operators. Let us go ahead with the set comparison operator. Sailors rating better than some sailors of Horatio. Your question is sailors rating better than some sailor of Horatio. So I am taking the ratings of sailors whose ratings are greater than Horatio's rating. First, you try to understand the question. Your question is to find the ratings of the sailors whose ratings are better than the Horatio's rating. And coming here, the problem is there are two Horatios. So the rating should be greater than the Horatios. Their sailor IDs. He is asking the sailor ID. I am taking select rating from sailor where sailor name equals to Horatio. I am taking Horatio. Here there are two Horatios. You observe here there are two Horatios. One is 7 and 9. The first Horatio's rating is 7. The second Horatio's rating is 9. So if any other sailor whose rating is greater than any one of these, you list out any one of these Horatio's rating. I want the names of sailors whose rating is dominating or equal to is dominating the Horatio's rating. Now here there are two Horatios, one is 7 and another is 9. So either 7 or 9, if it dominates, we need to take it out. Either 7 or 9, if it dominates, we need to take it out. So what I am doing here, when I say S name equals to Horatio, here the rating, you got set of values, one is 7, another is 9. You got set of values, one is 7, another is 9. Why I am taking 7 and 9? Because these are the ratings of Horatio. The name Horatio is 7, the name Horatio is 9. You got some set of values. Select sailor ID from sailors where rating is greater than any one of these values. Any one of these values. Any one of these values. Select sailor ID. I want sailor IDs of those sailors where those ratings should be greater than any means any one of these values. Any one of these values. You got 58. It is a 10. Rating is greater than 7 or 9. Any one of these values. Yes, you got it. 74. Why you got 74? This is 9. 9 is greater than 7. 9 is greater than 7. And hence you got 74. So these are the sailors whose rating is greater than any of the Horatio's rating. Any of the Horatio's rating. This is a set comparison because you are comparing with more than one value. These are called set of values. Any is used to compare any one of these values, any one of these values. That's the meaning of any, greater than any one of these values. Just you go through this for a minute.
71, sir. Jorba.
71. Yeah, you get Zorba. Yes, you get Zorba because it is greater than. Yeah, you get 71 also. You are right. You get even Jorba, 71. Right, you are correct, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Right, students, we proceed to the next comparison. Set comparison operator. Names of sailors who have reserved both red and green boards. This we done previously with union operation, intersection operation. The same concept we are going with the set comparison operations. You observe the inner select statement. Inner select statements. Coming to the inner select statements, you got green boards. You got the sailor IDs You got sailor IDs of green boards. The inner select statement is nothing but you are getting the sailor IDs of green boards. Your question is end, red and green boards, red and green boards. So these are the green boards reserved sailors. Means definitely if red sailor ID is also in this, then their names are to be listed out. And hence what I am doing is I am choosing the color equals to red, and those sailor IDs should be in this green also, in operator, in, that is called set inclusion operator. In is nothing but set inclusion operator. I am selecting the sailor IDs. I am selecting the sailor IDs of red boards, and those sailor IDs, that sailor IDs should be in this green also. Then that implies he reserved red board as well as the green board. Here you need to observe in operator, inclusion, red boards and their sailor IDs, and their sailor IDs should be in these boards. What is this? This is nothing but the sailor IDs of green boards. Then if it is there, then only their names are being out. If it is there, then only their names are being listed out. And so here in output you are getting Dustin, you are getting Lubber, and you are getting Horatio. Dustin, Lubber and Horatio. End operator, red and green boards. First I am taking the details of sailor IDs of green boards. Next I am taking the details of red boards, and I am saying their sailor ID should also be in these green boards. If they are available inside, that is if their sailor IDs are included in this, then only their names are being listed out. There is nothing but set comparison operation with the help of in. You are having in, any, all. In is inclusion. Any one of these, greater than any one of these, all, greater than all or less than all, greater than all or less than all. In for inclusion operator. So these are the set operators. We discussed about the joins. We discussed about correlated subqueries, that is the outer query connected with inner query. Of course, we discussed about the subqueries. A query within query is called as a subquery. And union, intersection, except, and with the any or in, any and all, we discussed about these set operators to compare the sets. This is what we had a discussion in today's class. Dear students, you please revise all the queries what we are discussing. You study well, and any doubts you feel free to ask me. Today I conclude this class with this, and thank you.